in this international career space, how can we stand out as immigrants?
It's about understanding your unique self. Your loyalty should be to yourself. The new environment, as much as they made it a bit conducive to speak up, just speak up.
Sometimes we shy away from who we are. So the question is, does that put us at an advantage or a disadvantage?
There are times that it will give you an advantage. There are times that it will give you a disadvantage. Even if you are not getting what you want where you are, get as much skills that you need from there. I own my connection with people through those opportunities. The other day I had Yuchen. It was because of those connections.
LinkedIn people, enough of TikTok. Make it or make it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Chronicles of an Immigrant podcast. I'm very excited to be here again in your faces. And if you don't know me, I am Mo, and I'm so happy. Yeah, today is a good day, actually. It's sunny in Manchester. It's just a good day. It's different feel. And I have somebody special because you all know I'm in the business of bringing special people, and we're going to get to know this person. The topic for today is how can we stand out as immigrants in this international career space? How can we stand out? So I'm going to introduce you to our guest, and he's going to tell us all about this. Hello.
Hi, Mo.
How are you?
Hi, audience. I'm very well, thank you.
How is life?
It's good. It's good. Good place to be. Manchester, one of the best cities in the UK.
Are you being discriminatory because you live in Manchester?
Well, probably, but at least I've been to a few cities in the UK, and I think I love Manchester.
Yeah, Manchester is like a diverse place. You just feel at home when you come here every time.
Not too many people, but it's still very diverse with a lot of people. So
nice.
Not too much traffic like you have in London. It's just good.
You get the city vibes without the city hustle.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it. So do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yes. My name is Oyetunde, and you can call me Oye, like the British friends call me. I work as an external auditor, and I think that's it.
That's it. Okay, so where were you originally from? How long have you been in the UK for? Okay. Tell us about that.
Okay. I'm from Nigeria. I grew up all my life in Nigeria until 5.5 years ago, or more than that now, that I came to the UK back in 2019. I think I've only gone back to Nigeria just once in 2020 to get married, and I've been here since then. So maybe in a few years I'll go back to Nigeria again.
Nice. There's no place like home, No, not like this place is not home, but there's no place like where you come from.
Yeah, is there? I know, but we're building a home here.
That's very valid.
Yeah.
So how was life in Nigeria before you came to the UK?
In Nigeria, I was relatively doing okay. At least I had a good job. I was working in one of the big 4 accounting firms. I had a good car. So, and this is typical of a lot of immigrants into this country, where they were in Nigeria or wherever they were doing relatively okay.
Yeah.
So, but that year, 2019, my goal was to get out of Nigeria for any reason, even if it's just for holiday, to at least expose myself, see beyond that space that I've grown up in. So I considered the option of studying. I didn't have enough money. Yeah. I was working a good place, but I would have to save up a lot to, come study abroad. And I didn't have someone who could be able to sponsor me to do that. So, and as God will have it, I had an opportunity that showed up. So, I don't know. Should I talk
definitely.
About that?
That's why we are here. You are talking about everything.
Okay, that's fine. So, as at then, I was already hearing some of my colleagues getting opportunities in the UK or even at other locations abroad. So I explored that, applying to jobs in the UK, Australia, those 2 places really, because those were the places I've seen people go to. So, and because I was working in one of the big 4 accounting firms, that gave me a good opportunity.
Okay, good.
So I was applying to KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, and EY. I had one from KPMG Australia. It didn't pull through to the final, getting an offer letter. And then I had one from UK, Manchester. In fact, it was a friend, a colleague that sent me a link and said, oh, PwC Ireland, he was even talking about Ireland, was hiring. If I was interested, I said, oh, right away, I'll do that. Then I applied through LinkedIn. It was, well, I always advocate for using LinkedIn because over time I've used LinkedIn very often and it's worked for me. I applied and then I did the application on Thursday. The Friday, they got back to me and said it was successful.
It's a lie. Like this Friday, the same week?
Yes, the same week. So I got in touch with my friend and I asked, this guy has got in touch with me and said I'm successful. He said, yeah, that's strange that they go back to him and gave him a rejected email. Okay, let's see how it goes. And then the following week, they arranged for an interview. It was just one interview.
Okay.
Yes, one interview. Strangely, many other people have 2 or 3. I had just one interview, and then by the 3rd week, I was given an offer letter. And then the whole story changed.
Just like that.
I'm going to the UK.
Wait, and when you were, like, how long had you worked in the Big Fours in Nigeria before you applied?
As at then, I was 2.5 years in the Big Four. So I just applied. And this is an opportunity that lots of people apply to and they don't get it.
And easily. Looking at it as well, it was just before the jackpot culture started.
Yes.
And for people that don't know what the jackpot culture means, it's a slang we use in Nigeria whereby, when people migrate, when there's like a wave of people leaving their home country to a foreign land, that's what we call the jackpot culture. And 2019, the jackpot culture hadn't started.
It wasn't a lot then. But yeah, I just had the opportunity and then the whole story changed.
So when you moved from, like, I know that in the Big Four, there are like different steps, like there's all these like different career steps. Did you have to take a step down when you found the job or you took a step up?
I took a step up and this was what I would call the bit. So I was a semi-senior associate in my that was my 3rd year. So I've done 1st year as an associate, 2nd year as an associate, and then the 3rd year semi-senior.
Okay.
And then they offered me a senior associate level coming into the UK. So that was the role I took. And then should we enter into the UK now?
Yes, enter into the UK. Okay. Take us on that journey. We want to hear it.
Okay, fine. So I got into the UK as a senior associate. And like I said, that was the bit because they taking people across the world into that role. And particularly, I wouldn't mention the firm, but if you check me out, you probably find it out anyways. That firm, the only is from senior associate to manager.
Okay.
While some other firms is senior associate 2 to assistant manager 1, assistant manager 2, and then you become a manager. But theirs is senior associate to manager. So what the bait means is you can be there for as long as 5 years. Yes. And meanwhile, some of the people who are British who start the journey, even when you got in there as a senior associate and started the journey afresh, they will probably catch up with you and you become a manager faster than you. So that's the base there, except you are able to work your way properly to get your promotion as you need it.
So now I'm going to ask you the question is that how long did it then take you in that bid period to then move faster? Or maybe, I don't know if you move faster to,
to the next level.
To the next level.
The first 2 years was a real struggle. So when I came in 2019, it was just myself and 2 friends. So there was one other friend, we were both in Deloitte.
Yeah.
That we got the offer around about the same time. So he joined another firm in Manchester as well. So we literally we traveled around about the same time to resume at same date as well. And then we had a friend who came in a few months earlier than us.
Okay.
So the 3 of us were living together. So those were the 3 people that were familiar to me. Every other thing was very new. And unfortunately, again, few months down the line, we got into COVID. The worst part of my life. I got into that COVID era and I was like, I made the worst decision of my life coming to the UK because it was so lonely. It was, no one to talk with other than just my 2 friends. It was just very annoying.
But were you still working
I was doing
during those
well
periods?
in Nigeria. Huh?
Were you still working?
Yeah, I was still working, but everyone's working from home now.
Okay.
You can't even interact much like that. So, but I was trying to overcome that. And then the new environment, as much as they made it a bit conducive to speak up, it wasn't very comfortable still to let them know the struggles, because they will never understand really.
Yeah.
And then it's not like they offered so much of help. They'll just sympathize with you and that's it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't very confident in myself anymore. The first 2 years, I was struggling to catch up with, do I actually know what I'm doing here? Am I understanding their process? So gradually, I was trying to fit into what they're doing. If it's diversity and inclusion, I was part of it. I was what they call color brief champion for the diversity and inclusion for the Manchester office. So I was running some activities, to one of which was doing what I call PWCX talk. I've kind of talked about the company, but it doesn't matter. So, and that was where people of different backgrounds, both the British and especially people who have come in from wherever they are, the topics that are of interest to them, they talk about them. And so they do it via email, or I set up calls. We're doing it for the video sessions. We're doing it, I think, once every 2 months, thereabout. And then get people on, talk about that topic, and then we do that. So I was just trying to get engaged in things that will get me part of their culture, understand what they are, what do they like, and at the same time, what they said they want to see for me to be considered for promotion. So I was trying to do all of those. But I tried applying for promotion about 3-4 times, and I didn't get it.
And that was within the 2-year period?
Yeah, within the 2-3 years period. And this is what it is. The first year, you're brilliant, you're fantastic. The comments, the feedback are, oh, you're doing very well. Some things that, I was doing in Nigeria as a semi-senior, because I was leading jobs in Nigeria, but I came in, I wasn't getting those kind of good opportunities to lead and put myself forward. So whenever I then do a little thing that, I was doing very well in Nigeria, they will, oh, you did very well here, you did very well that. Those were the first year into the 1.5 years. And then start applying for promotion. It turns to, you're doing well, but you didn't do this, you didn't do that. You should have done this and that. But no one told me that from the start. And this is where, from the start, it's good to let your ambitions be known. Valid. So that they will let you know this is what you need to do to get to where you want to get to, right? And you need to be very bold and confident about what you want. But, coming from Nigeria, I felt like they've done me the most favor in the world. So I wasn't very comfortable.
You just put yourself on a low key.
Yes,
just try
exactly.
to. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's looking back, I feel so bad about that. But it's one of the lessons that I encourage people whenever I speak with them. Just speak up, and be confident about what you want.
Because nobody's in your brain.
Exactly.
That's it. Nobody's in your head. If you don't speak up and say, oh, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to see myself in the next 5 years, they won't know.
They won't know. And because these people are quite subtle, they have a kind of intention of where they want you to get to. And so that's why I said it's a bit, if you can be there for as long as 7-10 years, they're happy with that. So that's the default setting. But you are the one that have to be very upfront in what you want so that they can spill out what they want you to do. And then you can start doing it early enough rather than later. So it's by the second year I started to understand in more specific what they actually want to see. And not just the things that I think they would want to see.
Valid.
Do you get? So I applied again into the third year. But it was then seeming like, at this point, there's now discouragement setting into myself, putting in my best into that same role anymore. When I've seen that even people that I've trained who came in they're now at par with me, and I'm like, it wasn't really making sense. So you want me to still keep giving my best, but you're not giving enough encouragement. Let me get what I want. So I then took the exit. So I got another opportunity in another firm and moved in there.
I think just to cut you short on that, I think as immigrants as well, like, as you said, when we move into a new country, you get a job, you feel like, oh, that's the best, because you are breaking free from what you knew, and like you're in a new environment, like, oh yes, they've done me the best favor they can possibly give me. And not to say it's not a good thing.
It's a good thing, but you are in fact doing them an equal favor as well.
Valid. And the thing about it is that I always tell people is that you are working and you're paid for your work. No, and I think we forget that nobody's doing you a favor because you are working and they're paying you for a service.
Yeah.
We need to always remember that. Yeah. I think so.
It's about, so what I found out in my journey all through that and helped me when I got into the next firm is now I understand how it works in this system. So I'm more confident and bold. So it's about understanding your unique self and your perspective.
Valid.
Be real to yourself and be real to the people that you're working with. As much as you need to get engaged into the culture, into their way of life, how they do things, be real to yourself. You know what you want. Be bold about it.
The follow-up question to that is, does being an immigrant make you stand out or put you as an advantage? Because I feel like we as immigrants, sometimes we shy away from who we are, our identity, because we feel like the word immigrant is a word that has been associated with the low class, underprivileged, minority groups of people. So sometimes we shy away from who we are. So the question is, does that put us at an advantage or a disadvantage in the career space?
In the career space, there are times that it will give you an advantage. There are times that it will give you a disadvantage. And now this is where I encourage a lot of people, if you're getting into career, consider global organizations, because they are the ones that open up more in terms of opportunities for minority group. They are more open compared to smaller firms or smaller companies and all of that. And then they are in the public more, that there's what they call transparency report or a diversity and inclusion report or similar names like that they have to present to show themselves as one giving equal opportunities to all.
Okay.
So in that, you get a lot of advantage, that there will be fewer discrimination compared to, a smaller company or even mid-level kind of company size, if you get what I mean. So, and then there are now some space, some kind of opportunities, titles that it can get difficult to get to. But with global companies, there's still an advantage there. Take, for instance, because I'm in the accounting industry, you will find the Big Four. Look at the Big Four accounting firms in the world.
Yeah.
The person who is the chair of PwC right now is not in the same trend as the person who used to be, who will come from the US. So, they open up faster. Those global companies open up opportunities to minority group faster than a smaller company, if you get what I mean.
I get what you're saying, but with the thing that's going on with the world now, where there's a lot of backlash about, EDI, diversity and inclusion and stuff, the global companies are the ones that will most likely take the biggest hit. So if you are saying that, we need to position ourselves as into those global spaces, is there not a ripple effect that when that happens, when diversity and inclusion starts being shot, it would affect us?
Okay. Very good question. And this is where I mix it up with uniqueness and knowing your own long-term goal. You get to a space in your career, whatever you're doing, if you've done it enough for 5 years, at least very well for 5 years, you'll get to a space that you're very confident in what you're doing and you can't simply be at a layoff of any company. So, and even if that happens, you know where to start from or where to continue from. That's the good thing. So, your loyalty should be to yourself. So if my company let me go now, my loyalty is to myself, and I've tried to draw up what my plan is. I get this experience to this level in these global spaces, and then I can stand on my own. So that's my plan. So, but if you are simply loyal to a company and you just want to be there and you're just doing your job as it is, you don't have a long-term plan of how you can also stand on your own, either in the same organization or outside the organization. In the same organization, you can make your plan that you must get to this level, maybe say the C executive by this time. At that point, even if they lay you off, the package they will give to you at that level, it's enough to last you for a couple of months. You get. So you must be loyal to yourself. That's your plan. So that you own your skills throughout the process. You own your experience throughout the process. And then if anything happens, I mean, even I as an auditor, I see even not just the minority group, even people who are British at the high top level, they get sacked for various reasons. So it can happen to anyone. But you own your skills, you own yourself and your journey, so that if anything hits, you can be able to listen.
I think that is really, really valid. I think especially for people like me, for instance, I'm early in my career. I would still say I'm early because I'm like 5 years into my career space. And we sometimes forget that there's a difference between loyal to yourself and being loyal to a company. Because, and I'm saying is, looking back at my migration journey when I first started, is that I felt like I had to be loyal to a company. Even though I love my job and I love the environment I work in, but at the end of the day, you have to remember that nobody has you apart from you. Nobody's indispensable. Nobody's indispensable. You need to do what is best for you at the end of the day, because whichever company you find yourself, they're going to do what's best for them. Absolutely. We need to remember that. We need to remember that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, think of yourself having a business as well. You always, it's not a lot of leaders who will always think of their employees first and say, oh, because I love them, I just want to keep them. Not a lot of
even
leaders.
Though they want to, you have to look at the bottom line.
Exactly.
I have a question, and this question is regards to, right now, we know the release of the white paper. All of us are on the fence. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Everybody doesn't know what's going to happen. And there are a lot of people in the job market. They're just hailing their careers. They're navigating the challenges of the job market. Is hard at the moment. How can they position themselves as a global talent in an environment whereby, the demand is more than supply?
Yeah, so with that, I would say, first of all, you must have a good global presence or global brand. And that starts with LinkedIn. Is one of the platforms.
LinkedIn, people, enough of TikTok, enough of Instagram. Go on LinkedIn and showcase yourself.
Yes, so just showcase yourself, because that's the place that at least you can show what you know.
Valid.
That's the place, and show it to professional people. And I've done a couple of podcasts with a few people, and they've shared with me how they effectively use LinkedIn. And how myself, I've shared my coming to the UK was through LinkedIn application. The next job that I got, it was through LinkedIn application. And the next place I'm getting into as well, I've got it through LinkedIn application. So LinkedIn is a very good place for you. Very good place for you. And one way that you can also effectively use it is reaching out to people directly. You can connect with people who have, the fact is, you're not the first person who will be in your situation. As unique as you are, there are lots of similarities in all of us. So you can check out people and their journey from LinkedIn and reach out to them and learn from them. That's the idea. What did you do that you can advise me that I can also do? And you can directly, I have a friend who, when he came into this country, within 3 months, he got at least 3 offers. And how did he do it? It was applying every day. And then on LinkedIn, it was reaching out to each one of the top C executives, the CHR, the CEO of those organizations, and letting them know, this is who I am. This is what I can do. I'll be of significant value to your organization. I look forward to speaking with you. And not all of them replied,
Definitely.
but few of them replied. One of them was CEO of Deloitte. I saw the message. A few of them replied. And then he started with Ant Digital. So he started with Ant Digital. And then within 2 years or 1 year, he moved into another company, big organization. So it's a good place for you to network, and you can use it anyhow, but get that. Then it's also a place for you to see possibilities. So the thing is, people get worried about all of this white paper issue, and it's valid. It's a valid worry. But when you see possibilities through the stories of people on LinkedIn, just check people out. So, for example, if I want to, I'll give a practical example of myself. I want to get into internal audit space. I went into LinkedIn and I was checking out people on LinkedIn who were internal audits. I just searched internal audit.
Okay.
And then I saw people check their profile. This person studied here. And it doesn't fit into what I'm looking for. I checked someone else. So I saw people who they came into the UK, they joined an external audit firm, they worked there for 3-4 years, and then they got into internal audit. That's what I want to get. So I messaged some of them and I said, I'm interested in your profile, and congratulations. Some of them, probably they just got a job. Congratulations on this, your new job. I'd like to connect with you further. So one of them, he shared his contact details with me, and then I chatted. We had a call on WhatsApp and we talked. He advised me the professional qualification that he did, why he did it, and how he got in the opportunity. So it's about finding enough positive stories that will help you, because the space I want to get to, internal audit, I've had some people tell me that it's difficult, that you can't get into it. But I found people who have done it.
Do you know what? I'm reading a book. And right now, the title of the book is called The Magic of Thinking Big. And I feel like as human beings and as people, it's very easy to focus in the now. In the present. And all the problems are happening now. And if they ask us, what is your value? You attach your value to who you are now. But your value is attached to who do you think you can be? What is your future value? And in my future value, which is going to appreciate exponentially, I'm realizing that impossible cannot be a word in my dictionary.
That's right.
In the midst of all the problems and all the challenges that migration, the world has, if I keep saying it is impossible, how will I attain the greatness that I want to achieve? So I feel like no matter how much, there's a lot of white paper problems, immigration across the world, not just in the UK, across the world. We need to realize that we are unique. And if you say there's no impossibility in my dictionary, the doors will open.
There's always a possibility somewhere. There is always a possibility.
Always.
Whether it's not in the UK or outside the UK, there's always a possibility. You just have to seek it out.
100%.
Find it out.
You know what? When I was moving to the UK, I remember I said, God, as I'm moving to this country, I only have 2 words in my dictionary. Make it or make it. There's no other word. Either I make it or make it. Choose one.
Yes, that's very valid. Very valid. Because you come in and it's a struggle initially and all of that. But if you're determined about it, you'll be very successful here. Very successful. And I was going to add to this that when I mentioned about owning yourself and your journey, wherever you are, try to suck the juice out, I'd say it that way. So when I was in the firm, I said I struggled to get the promotion. I look back and I was appreciative of the things I engaged in because it still brought out who I was. So I did those PWX talk. I did those sessions. I stood before them, presented about, diversity and inclusion, presented about, unconscious bias. it was about me. So I owned my presentation skills through those opportunities. I owned my connection with people through those opportunities. The other day I had Yuchen. It was because of those connections. So even if you are not getting what you want where you are, get as much skills that you need from there. So they may not give you the promotion, but do this, do that, do this, do that. At the end of the day, it's part of you. And that's what will add up to your value. You're talking about future value. So you see, when I then project myself for a new job opportunity, I can confidently say, I did this, I did that.
Valid.
Yeah.
Valid. I think so. There's a difference between just merely working and gathering skills along the way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're so comfortable. We're just working. But do we have the skills that will take us to the next place? We need to ask ourselves those questions.
Yes. And we have to actively develop those skills.
Valid. I think so. If you could look back and talk to your younger self, your younger you, what advice would you give?
My younger me, I'd say, well, I probably didn't think of it earlier, but I'd say because I'm a faith person, so the Bible has been one of the book I've read the most times in my life. So I say read the Bible more because it helps me to identify myself better, know who I am, and give me that confidence. So, and with that is where I can then bring my best self to whatever I'm doing. So where I'm working, I know how I should be working. I know who I am, irrespective of what they define of me. So those are the things I found the Bible to be very helpful to me. When I was talking about the 2 years, 3 years when I was struggling, I was doubting myself a lot. But the more I see the scriptures, the more I study, I sit back, I knew that there's more on the inside of me than, whatever they have defined or said of me. They might have given me this feedback. That is not a definition of who I am. So I read that more and more and as many times as possible so that it gives me confidence to put myself and be the best version of me. And then connecting with people. So I feel I've not connected with people as much. I've seen a lot of benefits with connecting with people.
Yeah.
One example, I shared earlier about a friend sent me a message and said, PwC Ireland is recruiting if you're interested. This was someone I connected with at the interview stage when we were getting into the organization, Deloitte. So, in fact, at the interview, they asked me, between you and him, who should we hire? And I said, well, each one of us are unique.
Yeah.
If you give me the job, I'm going to do it in a unique way compared to the other person, and then you can decide who's done it best. So I don't have to put someone else down, but connect with people.
Yeah. I think as well, I was going to ask you, what was your favorite scripture that held you on that journey?
So my favorite scripture, can I think of one now? I'd say can I think of one? Will you cut stuff?
Yeah, you will cut.
Okay. I'd say I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So, because many times it feels like, can I actually do what they said I should do? Am I sure I can do it? And is it really, I don't know. I just always feel like every time I look at that scriptures, it helps me to know that whatever it is that they want me to do to get to that next level, I should be able to do it. Yeah. And I can do it. So I just keep reminding myself that, okay, I'll get there someday. I'll get there someday.
What's your dream now?
My dream is to, so my experience has been in external audit.
Yeah.
And well, I'm probably putting out there now, so it's an accountability for me, but I'd written it some years ago. So I want to get enough experience so that I can stand alone. as an internal audit consultancy.
Okay.
So that's my plan. And that helps me to determine the kind of job opportunities I look out for.
Okay.
So at some point when I needed to start applying, I was determined that I wasn't going to get some kind of job except the one that fits into my long-term goal. So that's my long-term goal. And I also see my dream is to continue to help people because so when I was in the previous firm, I struggled the first 2 years, but I made sure that my struggles were of a benefit to someone else. So I started a group and it was about sharing our experiences, how we overcome them to help people who were joining. So, later on, the Japa, many people were not coming in. So I started that group. And then by the time I was leaving, because the platform is the company's platform where we have it, because of the diversity and inclusion, they allow those kind of things. By the time I was leaving, we were up to about 180 something in that group.
Okay.
Started with, I know this one, I had this one, and then it just keeps expanding. Yeah. And we're having meeting every month to share, this is the story of this person. This is how to position yourself for promotion. This is what you need to do. Effective feedback, upfront feedback, discussing with them upfront and things like that. So I continue to want to use my experience to support people.
I like that.
So in my new organization, when I got in there, I was more confident now. So I'm upfront about what I want and things like that. And I was actually the only Nigerian that joined the office at the time. And then when I was having more people, I was speaking with them and telling them, this is what you need to do. They were coming in from Nigeria afresh, joining this organization. Yeah. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to position yourself and do this. So it's about, as I continue to rise, gather that experience and help other people
rise. Let's just to that. Let's just to that.
Thank you. Yeah. And I'm encouraged to do that because I've also been in some space, some programs, events of this diversity and inclusion. I see people who have gone ahead, people who've been here for 20 years, 15 years. They've experienced a lot and they're also sharing. And it's encouraging people like us who have just started. So the best thing you can do is to keep on passing that advice down so that people are able to get faster, get the benefits of, get to where they want to get to faster than yourself.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody again. I hope you enjoyed this episode and we were really passionate about the fact that how can we position ourselves as immigrants into international career spaces. And one key takeaway I took from this is there's a difference between being loyal to yourself and being loyal to a company. Like it's very important for us to build our skills rather than just merely working. So as immigrants, you don't think that a company is doing you a favor by working. They're paying you for a service that you're performing. So always remember that and always do what is best for you. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And please, if you've not liked, like. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. If you've not left a comment, comment. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Yes. Bye.